place at the table. My name is Jules Dunham-Howie, and I'm your host of this show, which is all about hot topics and how women view them. Today, I am excited because I am joined by three phenomenal sisters. The first is none other than Wanda Watts, who is the director of the Watts Line. Good morning. The second is Maria Darby, who is the president of the Maryland Women's Heritage Center Board. Hello. And we have Cheryl J. Krim, who is the documentary producer of Resisterhood documentary. All right? So, ladies, first thing first, we want to hear a little bit about who you are. So take a moment and introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, good morning. I'm Wanda Watts. I'm director of the Watts Line. And we are a marketing and public relations firm, and we also do event management and project management. Been in business for about 10 years. And I'm also the secretary for the Maryland Black Caucus Foundation, which is in conjunction with the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Maria Darby. I'm the president of the Women's Heritage Center Board, which is so exciting because our real mission is adding her story to his story to make our story.
Perfect.
And I'm Cheryl Krim. I also go by CJ Krim. And I have been producing and directing for over 30 years. And after the last presidential election, just decided this story had to be told about what was happening in our country and whose civil rights were at risk under this administration. So I've been shooting for the past 2 years, grassroots efforts from a female perspective, and that's what the documentary is about.
Well, that's perfect because that ties right in to our first topic, ladies. We are going to talk about the most diverse Congress in U.S. history, which was sworn in and allowed Democrats to take the reins of power in the House. So we had 10 new senators, 3 Democrats and 7 Republicans, and 101 new House members, 67 Democrats, and was sworn in on January 3rd, 2019. So this 116th Congress is the most diverse in U.S. history. And that's amazing because still 90% of the House Republicans are white men. So there's still some work to do.
Old white men.
That's true. So first question, what do you think of the new Congress?
Yay!
Well, I have this great visual. They were shooting from where Pelosi was sitting, and when you looked out, on the right you saw this group of men. On the left you saw a sea of diversity. Women took the forefront, and then you had so many different nationalities. You had it was just wonderful for me to see it.
Absolutely, and I say, hallelujah, your vote counts, your vote counts.
Indeed.
Right now, every day, these women are changing, these women and men, but primarily the women who have come in, it seems to me, are leading the way on things that the rest of us have been screaming about for years. Gun control, women's rights, just, they are
Our voice.
Our voice is being heard because we went out and voted, and we need to keep that up and keep it going because they are making a difference daily right now.
And I think that the piece that was incredible that there were so many women, but I think, as you said, it was also about the diversity of the whole group that came in, because I really believe that we are much more effective when we're representative of the people. Like, that's the goal, right? That our country is supposed to be representative, right? That it's supposed to look and feel and be like everyone, so that you sort of see yourself in the elected body. And I think that the work that they're doing already, I think, has empowered even the base of people that were there already. I think that new energy, new blood, different kinds of thinking, which is frankly what women and people of different backgrounds bring to the table, is diversity of thought, not just look and being, right? It's about how they look at topics and what they're doing. So it's really exciting. Right.
They're not afraid of saying what's on their minds, and what they think and what they believe.
And it's something because when you look at the statistics, the majority, 52% of the incoming Democratic freshmen were women, compared to just 4.5% of the incoming Republicans. And overall, a record 103 women were elected to serve in the House, which is 22% more than those who served in the 115th House.
Yes.
So we are living the year of the woman. So what do we expect from this power? What are we going to get from these women?
I know I expect to hear more. And I'm hoping that this will help rally the men who've been sitting back and just going along, and hopefully that they'll start talking about the issues that affect us. One is the abortion rights, and I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but my question is, when was the last time you were pregnant? To the males. You know, I want to know, because that's only when I'm going to take you seriously about my body. Otherwise, don't talk to me.
I think that the opportunity for real change, right, and real discussion, I think that when that comes both from having all the different and new folks at the table, because, you know, sometimes you kind of go along to get along.
Yeah,
and I think that's really had been what the government had becoming. And I think this opportunity to engage in real discussions from different viewpoints addressing climate change and gun rights and, you know, and how do you sort of protect us from ourselves in a lot of ways. And I think that those challenging conversations are what women can often bring to the table, because we have them in our own lives and in communities, and we're leading those discussions. And so you can have a much more informed point of view when you have diversity and experience.
Excellent.
That's right, and women, we are different, but we are equal, and we do have just a wealth of caring, and the fact that we try to build bridges instead of walls. I really think that's part of just the genetic makeup of being a woman and a mother, and that so many of us bring. The other thing that's interesting about this Congress is the youth. I mean, it dropped, maybe you have the statistics.
Yes,
it
I
dropped
do.
the age. Oh, and it's subject to questions.
I love it. Because look, this Congress is younger. The average age of the 116th Congress is 47. It's a 10-year drop.
10 years.
It was 57 a year ago, now it's 47. So really the question is, will these new youthful perspectives make a difference? And then, can they listen and learn?
That's the interesting part.
That's the interesting
They're
part.
already making a difference. You look at AOC, you look at the Sunrise Movement, they're already shifting, they're already making a lot of noise. But there have been some missteps along the way with some of these new women, but it also seems to me that they are learning how to change. They are saying, whoa, I misspoke, or I didn't understand. And they're doing what they should be doing. I wish that Ralph Northam in Virginia, when you're caught in a mistake, how you're supposed to
Own the issue.
Own the
right?
issue.
We all make
Yes,
mistakes.
yes.
We all make mistakes.
and say, I will learn and I will be better because of it going forward.
You know, trying to hide the mistake never is a win, right? So I feel like, I agree that there have been some missteps, but I think that comes with people pushing, you know, the system. And I think that we all learn. When you're in a new environment, you have to learn. My hope is that there'll be a compromise. You know, it creates an opportunity for compromise, not in terms of values, but in terms of when you're both the leader and when you're led. You know, and I think that's a critical piece for everyone who's in some kind of leadership role, is to understand that being the leader sometimes means that you're the follower, right? In terms of how you sort of learn and gain knowledge and support.
And hopefully they'll be able to garner some sort of support from the women who are already there, who know the system, and maybe find a mentor, you know, someone that they can actually work with, somebody who can tell them the ropes, and they'll be able to grasp what it is with a positive force rather than, you know, thinking that it's negative.
And you know, it's always interesting to me because it can be humbling when you're in a new experience, and a lot of these women are in a new experience, and and quite frankly, they're in a they're in a man's world, and so I think that it would behoove them to just be able to take the class, take a beat before you speak, you know, because they're in a fishbowl and people want them to fail.
That's true, absolutely.
And so instead of putting yourself out there and feeling like you've got to be so bold and maverick right away, it's sometimes better lay in the cut. Learn, listen, learn, and figure it out. Then
I suppose, I think a lot of these women though, or a lot of these newly elected officials, don't think that they have a lot of time. I mean, when it comes to climate change and, you know, some of these other issues, and the pushback right now, I think that they're being bold, and I don't think it's a bad thing on you know, on some levels. They're going to trip, and as we just discussed. But if they stand back too far, I'm afraid that this energy could be lost. So I hope that they do stuff.
I think it's the partnership too. Like I absolutely want them to have mentors that are women that have been there before them. But there are a lot of effective male legislators that hold power positions that can be supportive. So I don't want to let the men off the hook. Like they have a responsibility as well to mentor and to be supportive and to help create direction and, you know, for new ideas and the women that have come in and all sort of the new, you know, legislators that came to the table.
So I was thinking, sitting under Elijah Cummings, what better mentor could
I
we
love him.
ask for?
I love him. He was powerful.
I mean, his energy is just always right there, and it's always focused on whatever is going on. Like his speech yesterday, maybe I digress, but yesterday, I mean, he did not have to read a word. Everything came from his heart and his energy.
excellent. Well, you all, Nancy Pelosi said, I pledge this Congress will be transparent, bipartisan, and unifying. We're going to keep our eyes on them and see if they are going to be that. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. diverse Congress. You know, I really was struck by Nancy Pelosi's comment when she talked about how not only are they diverse, but that they are serving during the 100th year anniversary of women's suffrage. What an appropriate year for the year of women, because we have 131 women who are serving in the 160.
Still not enough, but it's a good start.
Hey, I'll take it.
Going in the right direction.
Heading the right way.
Exactly. So now all these women in Congress, women are starting to move up. And you know, we didn't break that glass ceiling with Hillary. Are we going to do it in 2020?
I think there's a good chance. I really do. We have some great candidates out there. And it may be a woman of color, which would be amazing. Yeah,
But I think it's exciting to see that this is of the candidates have declared this early on, it's the most diverse pool of candidates too. You know, and I think that's exciting, right? So how exciting is it to have a different options that relate to perspectives, right? So the conversation should be great in terms of what's going on during the campaigning as well, because you're going to hear, even among the Democratic Party, obviously, from their own backgrounds and their own experiences, ways to address the issues that Democrats are going to, be talking about during the season.
And I'm encouraged by the fact that already they're starting to talk about, as Democrats and as we're running against each other in the primaries, let's still try and build each other up instead of breaking each other down, because that happened last time and it was not pretty. And so
civil discourse has lost its place in our country in some way, but I think that you can run an election and be opposed and have different opinions or different interpretations and still be civil to your opponents, whether it's in your party or when you're in the general election.
And finally, the fact that they're actually starting off with that message, let's be civil, I think is a real positive
And
step.
party unification. How do we keep party unified? What do you think?
Well, it gives us the opportunity to go back to a lesser time, time further back when Democrats had their platform. And no matter who was running, they all stuck around the same issue. So we can look at climate change, we can look at women's issues, we can look at all kinds of diverse topics.
Wage.
The wage, and now is our time. I think that with the 100th year, I think this is all coming together for a reason. And I believe that things happen because they're supposed to happen. And we have this opportunity. And I think that we also need to not take our eyes off of the local levels. I was just reading about Chicago. Chicago has 2 African American women running for mayor. Unbelievable.
They won the top. They were the top 2 vote getters.
Yes.
2 African American women, and they'll have a runoff. But that means the next mayor of Detroit is an African American woman.
Yes.
That's great.
That's what I'm saying. We need to keep not just the national focus. We need to look at the governor's level as well as the mayoral levels across the country.
It's true.
And I think that that's what this, having this new Congress has helped, right? So people start seeing themselves in politics.
Yes.
So maybe not at that level yet, but in politics. And that means being on school boards and neighborhood associations and then, then in local politics. And exactly. Oh, you can be anything really, right? Because there are people that have done it before you, that look and feel like you, that seem, and even those who don't win. Not everyone's going to win, right, the first time out. And that ability to say, I'm going to put my hat in the ring, I'm going to learn from it, I'm going to figure out what I did that worked and what areas I could do better, because I think that, people don't get elected always the first time out for anything. And I think and we saw that in this election season too, which I think is, a useful tool for all of us.
Absolutely.
Yes, but creating a pipeline of viable women,
Yes.
I think is something that has been sparked and is going to continue to grow. But what excites me the most is knowing that in 2020, I believe that the Democratic ticket will have a woman on it. And it will either be at the top or at the bottom.
Second place.
And I actually do believe that the Republican ticket will have a woman on it, but it'll probably be at the bottom. So, but the bottom line is, I think that they all recognize in that environment that they have to start to appreciate what women bring in higher levels of power.
I mean, if there are 2 women in either of those positions, on each of the tickets, like a woman on each of those tickets, that would be
That's historic.
just historic in every way. And I think that tells us that we as a country are making gains, and that this time around has maybe been the lesson learned to figure out that different voices bring a more balanced perspective to any kind of decisions, and certainly to the highest levels in the land.
Yes.
And that ceiling may not have been broken yet, but they're cracks. It's
Lots and lots of cracks.
really starting to shake.
That's true.
And look, we're gonna help by making sure we help people get registered to vote, by making sure that we help people understand the importance of the freedom of franchise and the honor that it is to vote, and the fact that their vote counts. And that is how we really make a difference, so that we actually cannot just break it, but just punch right through it and just see it all falling down, and never go back, right? Never go back. It's time to go to a break, but we'll be right back. Stay with us. Well, ladies, what a phenomenal discussion.
Great.
I tell you, it's amazing what we can talk about
Solve
when we
all
come
the
to the table. Exactly. So, CJ Krim, thank you for being with me. Maria Dari, thank you for being with me. And Wanda Watts, always a pleasure.
Thank you.